Never split the difference. Negotiate like your life depends on it. Have you ever walked away from a negotiation feeling like you left something on the table? Or perhaps you faced a high-stakes conversation and the other side seemed utterly unreasonable, refusing to budge? What if the conventional wisdom about compromise and rationality is actually holding you back? Imagine influencing, persuading, and achieving outcomes far beyond what you thought possible, even when facing the toughest adversaries. Welcome, listeners, to a radical and game-changing guide to negotiation. Never Split the Difference. Negotiating as if your life depended on it, by Chris Voss, a former FBI lead international hostage negotiator and a master of human psychology. Published in 2016, this book distills decades of life-or-death experience into a set of actionable, counterintuitive strategies that are applicable in every aspect of your life, from business deals to family discussions. Voss's core philosophy is simple yet revolutionary. Negotiation is not an act of battle, but an act of discovery. It's about uncovering the hidden needs, emotions, and motivations of the other person, rather than simply trying to impose your will. He argues that traditional, rational-based negotiation techniques often fail because humans are fundamentally emotional, often illogical creatures. Never Split the Difference equips you with the tools to de-escalate conflict, build rapport, and achieve superior outcomes by understanding and influencing human irrationality, transforming confrontations into collaborations. This book is an essential guide for anyone who wants to gain an edge, resolve disputes, and get more of what they want in life. Part 1. The New Rules, from hostage negotiations to everyday life. In the first major section of Never Split the Difference, Chris Voss immediately challenges traditional negotiation wisdom, asserting that emotions and psychological insight are far more powerful than pure logic. He introduces the core principles that form the bedrock of his unique approach, derived from his high-stakes experience. Chapter 1. The New Rules. Explanation. This foundational chapter introduces the radical idea that traditional negotiation advice often fails because it assumes people are rational. Voss argues that humans are, in fact, emotional and often illogical. Therefore, effective negotiation requires understanding and influencing the other person's emotions and psychological landscape, rather than simply presenting logical arguments. He introduces the core concept of tactical empathy as the most crucial skill. Deep analysis. Psychologically, when under pressure, high stakes, our emotional limbic system often overrides our rational prefrontal cortex. This is why logical arguments can fall flat when someone is feeling angry, fearful, or disrespected. Voss emphasizes that negotiation is emotion, emotional intelligence, and emotional control. The new rules reject traditional compromise, splitting the difference, arguing that it often leads to mediocre outcomes where both parties feel unsatisfied. Instead, the goal is to achieve superior outcomes by truly understanding the other side's deep emotional needs and then guiding them to your solution, making them feel like it was their idea. The first step is to focus on de-escalation and building rapport through psychological insights, not just logical facts. Illustrative examples. The bank robber. Negotiation. Voss recounts a classic scenario. A bank robber has hostages, demanding a getaway car. Traditional advice might be to offer a partial compromise. Voss's approach would be to first acknowledge the robber's feelings. It sounds like you're feeling incredibly desperate right now, and you need a way out. Building rapport and lowering emotional barriers before discussing solutions. This emotional validation is key. The salary negotiation. A candidate wants a higher salary, and the company offers less. A traditional approach might be to meet in the middle. Voss would advise the candidate to first understand the company's underlying concerns, budget constraints, fear of setting a precedent. Then address those concerns with empathy, perhaps by proposing performance-based bonuses or additional responsibilities, making the higher salary a win-win for the company. The unreasonable client. A client is furious about a minor delay. Instead of defending, A skilled negotiator would first label their anger. It sounds like you're incredibly frustrated with this delay, and it's making you feel undervalued. This empathetic mirroring often deflates the anger, making the client receptive to solutions. Practical application. Prioritize understanding emotions over logic. Before trying to persuade, focus on listening and identifying the other person's feelings. Challenge the urge to compromise early. Don't automatically split the difference. Aim for a better outcome for both sides by digging deeper. Recognize emotion as a tool. Understand that emotions are not obstacles to negotiation, but rather the very levers you can use to influence. Chapter 2. Be a Mirror Explanation. This chapter introduces mirroring as a fundamental and surprisingly powerful technique for building immediate rapport and trust. Voss explains that mirroring is simply repeating the last 1 to 3 key words of what someone has just said. It's a nonverbal way of showing empathy and encouraging the other person to elaborate, revealing more information. Deep analysis. Psychologically, mirroring is a subtle form of active listening and validation. When you mirror, you implicitly tell the other person, "I'm listening, I'm understanding you, and I'm interested in what you have to say." This creates a subconscious sense of safety and connection. It makes the other person feel heard and encourages them to continue talking, thereby revealing more of their thoughts, feelings, and underlying needs. It uses the human tendency to want to feel understood. It's not about imitation, but about quiet, non-judgmental repetition that signals engagement. It's often the fastest way to get the other person to open up and self-disclose, which is crucial for uncovering hidden information. Illustrative examples. The hostage negotiator's mirror. A hostage taker says, "I'm not coming out. I have demands." The negotiator might respond, "You have demands?" This simple mirroring encourages the hostage taker to elaborate on those demands, providing vital information without direct questioning or confrontation. The salary negotiation. A recruiter says, "Our budget for this role is $70,000. You respond, "$70,000? This gentle mirror prompts the recruiter to either justify the number, reveal flexibility, or offer more context, giving you more information to work with. The upset colleague. Your colleague says, "I'm so frustrated with this project. It feels like no one is listening to my ideas." You respond, "No one is listening to your ideas?" This makes them feel heard and encourages them to elaborate on their frustration, revealing the root cause, e.g., specific instances of feeling ignored. The parent-child conversation. Your child says, "I don't want to go to school today." You might mirror, "You don't want to go to school today?" This often prompts them to explain why they don't want to go, revealing the underlying issue, e.g., a test, a bully, feeling sick. Practical application. Practice mirroring daily. Start small by mirroring the last 1 to 3 words of what your friends, family, or colleagues say. Use it to gather information. When you need more details from someone, especially if they are hesitant, use mirroring to encourage them to talk more. Build rapport quickly. In initial interactions, mirroring helps establish a sense of connection and understanding without you having to say much. Be genuine. Mirroring should come from a place of genuine curiosity and a desire to understand, not manipulation. Chapter 3. Don't feel their pain, label it explanation. This chapter introduces tactical empathy, which Voss defines as understanding the feelings and mindset of another, even if you don't agree with them. It's not about feeling their emotions, but about observing them and then verbally labeling them. Labeling is acknowledging someone's emotion, often with a phrase like, "It sounds like," "It looks like," or "It seems like." Deep analysis. Psychologically, labeling emotions is incredibly powerful because it validates the other person's feelings without necessarily agreeing with their viewpoint or actions. When someone feels their emotions are understood and acknowledged, their defensiveness decreases, and their emotional intensity often dissipates. This creates a sense of safety and rapport, opening the door for rational dialogue, Voss argues that behind every seemingly irrational demand or outburst is an underlying emotion. By naming that emotion, you demonstrate that you're truly listening and attempting to understand, which is a rare and disarming act in high-stakes situations. It shifts the conversation from confrontation to exploration. It allows you to gain information about their internal state without letting their emotions overwhelm yours. Illustrative examples. The hostage taker's frustration. A hostage taker is yelling, "I'm not going back to jail." A negotiator might respond, "It sounds like you're afraid of going back to jail," or "It seems like you're feeling desperate." This acknowledgement, rather than arguing, often de-escalates the situation. The angry client. A client is shouting, "Your service is terrible. I'm taking my business elsewhere." Instead of getting defensive, you might say, "It sounds like you're feeling incredibly frustrated with our service right now, and you're deeply unhappy with how things have been handled." This validates their anger, allowing them to feel heard and makes them more receptive to hearing solutions. The teenager's upset. Your teenager slams the door and yells, "You never listened to me." You might respond, "It sounds like you're feeling unheard and frustrated right now." Or, "It looks like you're really upset with me." This often prompts them to explain why they feel that way, rather than escalating the argument. The business partner's silence. Your business partner is unusually quiet in a meeting. You might lean in and say, "It seems like you might be concerned about something," or "It looks like you're feeling hesitant about this plan." This invites them to open up. Practical application. Observe emotions. Pay close attention to verbal tone, body language, and the words people use to express their feelings. Label emotions. Use phrases like, "It sounds like," "It looks like," "It seems like," followed by the emotion you observe, e.g., "It sounds like you're worried about the deadline." Don't over-explain. Keep labels brief and non-judgmental. Let the other person confirm or correct your label. Listen for confirmation. The goal is to hear "that's right" or an elaboration, which indicates they feel understood and safety is building. Chapter 4. Beware. Yes, master. Martyr said no. Explanation. This chapter radically challenges the conventional wisdom that you should always aim for a yes in negotiation. Voss argues that yes can be a weak commitment, a mere reflex, or even a manipulative tactic. Instead, he teaches that no is often the beginning of the negotiation, a sign of safety, and a powerful tool to gain information and control. The goal is to make the other person feel safe enough to say no, because no often means, "I'm not ready," "I don't understand," or "I need more information," and these are valuable insights. Deep analysis. Psychologically, when people are pushed for a yes, their brain often activates a defensive mode. They feel like they're being pushed or giving something away. Conversely, saying no provides a feeling of autonomy and control. It allows the other person to feel safe because they believe they are defining their boundaries and protecting themselves. Voss encourages asking no-oriented questions that make no a comfortable and informative response. This allows the other party to feel in control, simultaneously disarming their defenses and providing you with crucial information about their true boundaries and priorities. When they say no, they often reveal their hidden objections, allowing you to address them directly. The real yes is a genuine commitment that comes after a person feels truly understood and in control. Illustrative examples. The hostage negotiator's no-oriented. Question. A hostage taker might be barricaded. Instead of asking, "Will you open the door?" aiming for yes, a negotiator might ask, "Is it ridiculous to consider opening the door?" Or, "Are you simply going to give up and surrender?" The natural response to these is no, which makes them feel safe and often leads them to elaborate on why they won't, providing information. The sales call. A salesperson calls a potential client. Instead of asking, "Are you interested in our product?" aiming for yes, they might ask, "Is now a bad time to talk?" aiming for no. If the client says no, it's not a bad time, they've just verbally given you permission to continue, feeling in control. If they say, yes, it is, they've given you valuable information, allowing you to reschedule without pushing them further. Negotiating with a stubborn child. Your child doesn't want to clean their room. Instead of, will you clean your room now? Likely met with resistance. Try, is it impossible for you to clean your room today? Or, are you against cleaning your room at all? The no response often makes them feel heard and opens up a dialogue about why they don't want to, allowing you to address the root cause. Practical application. Ask no-oriented. Questions. Frame your questions in a way that allows the other person to say no comfortably. Have you given up on X? Is it a bad idea for me to? Are you against? But embrace the no. When you hear no, don't push back. See it as a signal to ask more clarifying questions, to understand the underlying objection or fear. Use no to gain control. By asking questions that elicit no, you give the other person the illusion of control, making them feel safe, and paradoxically, giving you more control over the flow of information. Avoid yes as a trap. Don't settle for a quick yes if you sense hesitation. Dig deeper to ensure genuine commitment. Chapter 5. Get the other side to say that's right. Explanation. This chapter identifies that's right as the holy grail of negotiation, a breakthrough moment that signifies true understanding and shifts the negotiation from conflict to collaboration. Voss argues that getting the other side to say, that's right, is far more powerful than getting a simple yes. It means you have truly heard them and accurately articulated their worldview. Deep analysis. Psychologically, that's right signifies profound validation. When someone says that's right, it means you have accurately identified their core beliefs, feelings, or underlying needs. This creates a deep sense of trust and rapport, disarming their defenses and making them receptive to your perspective. It's the moment their emotional brain registers, this person understands me. It signifies the culmination of effective mirroring and labeling. It indicates that you've accessed their black swan information, the hidden, vital pieces of information that could change the entire negotiation. Once you hear that's right, the other person is usually ready to listen to you and consider your proposals. It shifts the dynamic from suspicion to mutual understanding. Illustrative examples. The hostage negotiator's validation. A hostage taker has been ranting for hours. After careful listening, mirroring, and labeling, the negotiator might summarize, "It sounds like you feel you've been pushed into a corner. You believe no one has listened to you, and now you see no other way out than this. Is that right?" If the hostage taker responds, "That's right," it's a huge breakthrough, signaling they feel understood and are ready to be influenced. The difficult client. A client has been complaining about a long list of issues. After listening intently and using labels, you might summarize, "So, it sounds like your main concern is that our solution hasn't delivered on the promised efficiency, and you feel that your initial investment was mismanaged. Is that right?" If they say, "That's right," they've validated your understanding, and you can now move to solutions. The argumentative spouse. Your spouse is upset about something. After listening and labeling their feelings, you might say, "So, if I'm understanding correctly, you're feeling frustrated because you believe I'm not prioritizing your feelings, and that makes you feel unloved. Is that right?" If they confirm with, "That's right," they feel heard, and you can then address their underlying needs effectively. Practical application. Listen actively and empathically. Use mirroring and labeling to gather information and identify the other person's core feelings and beliefs. Summarize their perspective. Once you feel you understand their worldview, summarize it back to them, focusing on their emotions, underlying needs, and key points. Aim for, "That's right." Phrase your summary as a question that invites "that's right" as a response. "So, you're looking for X because Y. Is that right?" Don't settle for yes. If you get a simple yes, but sense hesitation, dig deeper. "That's right" is the signal of true understanding. Part 2. The rules that will make you great. Breaking impasses and achieving breakthroughs. We've mastered the foundational art of listening, labeling, and wielding the power of no. Now, Chris Voss takes us beyond the basics into Part 2 of Never Split the Difference. revealing the advanced psychological tools that transform good negotiators into great ones. This section is all about breaking through seemingly impossible impasses, uncovering the deepest motivations, and ensuring that every negotiation leads to superior, executable outcomes. Chapter 6. Bend their reality explanation. This chapter teaches you how to bend the other side's perception of reality by strategically using anchoring and leveraging the power of loss aversion. Voss demonstrates how you can subtly influence their perception of value and fairness, making your proposal seem more reasonable or even appealing by controlling the reference points in their mind. Deep analysis. Psychologically, our brains are highly susceptible to anchoring, the tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information offered, the anchor, when making decisions. By setting a strategic, often extreme anchor, you can shift the entire negotiation range in your favor. This isn't about being dishonest, but about understanding how the human mind evaluates options. Furthermore, people are inherently more motivated to avoid a loss than to acquire an equivalent gain. This is loss aversions. If you can frame your proposal as a way to avoid a significant loss for them rather than just gaining something, it becomes far more compelling. By leveraging these psychological insights, you make your solution the most attractive, perceived alternative, without resorting to coercion. Illustrative examples: the extreme anchor in salary negotiation. When negotiating a salary, instead of asking for your desired range, set a strategically high, seemingly unreasonable anchor. For example, if you want $100,000, you might open with a figure like $120,000. Even if you don't get $120,000, it makes $100,000 feel more reasonable by comparison, shifting their internal reference point. Voss advises delivering this high anchor with a calm, even apologetic tone, making it less confrontational. Framing with loss aversion. You're trying to sell a new software solution to a company. They're hesitant due to cost. Instead of just highlighting gains, our software will boost your efficiency by 20%. You can frame it with loss aversion. How much is your current system costing you in lost productivity each month? Or, what happens if you don't adopt a new system in the next 6 months? How much will that cost you in lost efficiency or market share? By making the status quo, doing nothing, appear increasingly painful, your solution, even if it's an investment, looks like the less painful alternative. This anchors their reality to a negative future without your solution. The car dealership negotiation. A car dealer is offering a high price. You can use an extreme anchor by offering a surprisingly low number first. Then, during the discussion, use calibrated questions, which we'll discuss again, and labels to uncover their pain, e.g., specific inventory they need to move, month-end quotas. You might then offer a slightly higher price for a car that directly solves their inventory problem, framing it as helping them avoid a loss on older stock. Practical application: set strategic anchors. When making an offer or requesting something, start with a number or position that is strategically higher for you or lower for them than your actual target. Deliver it calmly. Highlight the pain of the status quo. Use calibrated questions and labeling to make the other side vividly aware of the negative consequences of not agreeing to your solution or not changing their current situation. How long can you continue to endure X problem? Frame in terms of avoiding loss. Whenever possible, present your proposal as a way for them to avoid a negative outcome rather than just gaining a positive one. Chapter 7. Create the illusion of control. Explanation. This chapter emphasizes that calibrated questions, open-ended what, how, and cautious why questions are the master key to creating the illusion of control for the other side while subtly guiding them to your solution. Voss insists that these are not merely questions. They are carefully designed psychological tools to prompt self-reflection and steer the negotiation. Deep analysis. Psychologically, direct commands or aggressive suggestions trigger a primal human resistance to being controlled. Calibrated questions bypass this resistance by inviting the other person to provide the information or solutions. When they answer a what or how question, their brain engages in problem solving for you, making them feel intelligent, autonomous, and in charge. This perceived control disarms them, reduces their anxiety, and makes them far more likely to accept your ultimate proposal because they feel they contributed to it or even originated the idea themselves. It forces them to reveal their underlying assumptions, constraints, and priorities, providing you with invaluable black swan information. The beauty is that they feel safe and respected, making them receptive to your influence. Illustrative examples: the impossible request. Instead of directly rejecting an unreasonable demand, ask, "How am I supposed to do that?" or "What would you have me do?" This forces the other person to either explain their unrealistic expectation or, more often, to lower their demand and propose a more reasonable solution themselves. It shifts the burden of solving the problem onto them while you maintain control of the conversation. The reluctant team member. A manager needs a team member to take on a difficult new task. Instead of, "I need you to do X," the manager could use calibrated questions. "How can we make sure this task gets completed effectively?" Or, "What would you need from me to feel comfortable taking this on?" This invites the team member to participate in the solution rather than feeling like they're being ordered around. Guiding a client to a specific feature. You want a client to choose a specific, more expensive feature. Instead of "you should choose feature B," you might say, "Given your goals for scalability, how do you see feature A meeting your long-term needs compared to feature B?" Or, "What would be the biggest challenge for you if you don't have the capabilities of feature B?" This makes them articulate the benefits of your preferred option themselves. Practical application. Prepare your calibrated questions in advance. For any crucial conversation, brainstorm open-ended what and how questions that guide the discussion without being prescriptive. Use them to get information and overcome objections. When faced with resistance or a lack of understanding, ask calibrated questions that force the other person to articulate their position or suggest solutions. Listen actively to their answers. The magic of calibrated questions lies in the information they reveal. Pay close attention to their responses, which will expose their true needs and limitations. Resist the urge to tell. Let them talk themselves into your solution. Chapter 8. Guarantee execution. Explanation. This chapter emphasizes that the negotiation isn't truly over until the deal is executed. Voss introduces tools to ensure that verbal agreements translate into concrete actions, highlighting the distinction between agreement, saying yes, and commitment, actual follow-through. He advocates for probing beyond the surface to uncover hidden obstacles to implementation. Deep analysis. Psychologically, people can agree to a deal just to end a conversation, to be polite, or because they feel pressured without genuinely intending or being able to follow through. This leads to broken promises and resentment. Voss argues that commitment is built on a sense of safety and understanding, where the other person feels they have truly contributed to the solution and have considered the practicalities. The goal is to make the other party feel they have chosen the solution themselves and that executing it will make them look good. This requires asking questions that reveal potential pitfalls and ensure they are genuinely bought into the implementation process. Illustrative examples. The "how do I know this will happen?" test. After someone agrees, instead of "are you committed?" ask a calibrated question like, "How will you implement this?" or "What's the biggest challenge you foresee in making this happen?" Their detailed answer to "how" demonstrates their internal plan and commitment. Their response to challenges reveals potential future problems before they occur. The rule of 3 for confirmation. Voss recommends getting the other side to say yes 3 times in different ways. This signals genuine commitment. "Are you agreed on this?" "Yes." "Sounds like we're on the same page." "Is that right?" "That's right." "How are we going to implement this to make sure it goes smoothly?" Their detailed answer here confirms real buy-in and action planning. The hidden stakeholder. A team agrees to a project plan, but it never gets executed. The black swan, discovered through guarantee execution questions might be a powerful, unacknowledged stakeholder, e.g. a department head, a legal team, who was never consulted and is actually blocking implementation. By asking, who else needs to be on board to make this successful? Or, what are the steps to get this approved by all relevant parties? You uncover potential roadblocks. Practical application. Ask implementation questions. After an agreement, always ask how questions related to execution. How will you get this done? How will we know if it's on track? Look for genuine commitment. Don't settle for a casual yes. Seek "that's right" and detailed responses to implementation questions. Identify potential roadblocks. Use questions to uncover who else might be involved, what resources are needed, or what unforeseen challenges could arise during execution. Agree on follow-up. Establish clear metrics and dates for checking progress. Chapter 9. Bargain Hard Explanation. This chapter dives into the practical application of the negotiation tools to bargain effectively and achieve your financial or resource goals. Voss challenges the notion that being nice, or splitting the difference, is the best way to get a good deal. He teaches how to make aggressive offers or demands effectively without burning bridges by framing them with psychological precision. Deep analysis. Psychologically, this chapter is about leveraging the emotional impact of numbers and the art of persuasion. Voss teaches that, using odd numbers, when making a price offer or demand, use a precise odd number. JRE does $2,350 instead of $25,000. This makes it seem like you've done extensive research and are serious, giving the impression that you're near your limit. Acknowledging their power. Even when bargaining hard, maintain rapport by acknowledging their power and legitimacy. I know this is a tough ask, and you have every right to say no. Using accusation audits and labels. Prior to making a tough offer, use an accusation audit to preempt their negative thoughts and clear the air. You probably think I'm being cheap, unreasonable. This disarms them. Focus on non-monetary terms. If a monetary goal is a stalemate, look for non-monetary black swans that might be valuable to one party and cheap for the other, e.g. as payment terms, future opportunities, exclusivity, flexible deadlines. The fair trap. Be wary when the other side says, "Let's be fair." This is often a tactic to get you to compromise against your best interest. Instead, ask, how do you define fair? Illustrative examples. The business acquisition. Offer. You're looking to acquire a small business. Instead of offering a round number, you make a precise, odd offer, like $873,500. This suggests deep analysis and less room for movement, making your offer seem more final and considered. The tough salary negotiation. You are asking for a significantly higher salary than the initial offer. You might start by labeling their concerns. It sounds like you're under budget constraints right now, and you might think my ask is too high. Is that right? Once acknowledged, present your precise number, perhaps followed by a brief justification focused on your unique value, or a non-monetary trade-off, e.g., longer notice period for higher pay. The fair counter tactic. Your client says, "Let's be fair, how about we split the difference?" Instead of agreeing, you respond with, "How do you define fair?" This forces them to justify their position, often revealing their true anchor and flexibility. Their definition of fair might be heavily biased towards them. Practical application. Use odd numbers. When making offers or demands, especially for prices or percentages, use precise, non-rounded figures. Frame with tactical empathy. Before making a tough offer, use labels and calibrated questions to acknowledge their potential concerns and create safety. Don't fear the no. Be prepared for them to say no to your aggressive offer and use that no to gain more information and refine your next step. Look beyond money. Always consider non-monetary terms that might be highly valuable to one party and less costly to the other. Chapter 10. Find the Black Swan explanation. This chapter emphasizes the relentless pursuit and strategic use of black swans, the hidden, unknown pieces of information that can completely change the dynamic and outcome of any negotiation. Voss argues that most conflicts and stalemates arise not from what is known, but from what is yet to be discovered. Mastering negotiation involves systematically probing for these unrevealed motivations, fears, or leverage points. Deep analysis. Psychologically, people rarely reveal their deepest fears, desires, or ultimate breaking points up front. They often present a facade, a simplified version of their position, or actively conceal information they deem sensitive. Black swans are these unrevealed variables, the unexpected reasons why someone is behaving a certain way, or the hidden leverage you might possess. Finding these requires persistent, empathetic probing, using mirroring, labeling, and calibrated questions, and keen observation. Once a black swan is uncovered, it can transform a seemingly impossible negotiation into a sudden, often win-win solution by revealing a previously unconsidered path or a shared interest. This concept underscores that genuine understanding is the ultimate leverage. The goal is to uncover the underlying truth that unlocks the deal, not just to negotiate the surface. Illustrative examples: the hostage-taker's urgent need. Voss recounts a negotiation where a hostage-taker was demanding a large sum of money and a plane. The obvious information was his demand. The black swan was revealed. The hostage-taker's real motivation wasn't the money itself, but desperately needing to pay for his child's urgent, life-saving medical treatment, which he couldn't afford. By uncovering this deep, hidden fear/need, the negotiator could shift from arguing about ransom to connecting him with a medical solution, leading to a peaceful resolution. The business acquisition breakdown. In a business acquisition deal, a small company's founder is resisting a seemingly fair offer. The obvious information is their financial valuation. The black swan might be that the founder has a personal, unstated fear of losing their company's legacy, or that a key employee is secretly planning to leave if the acquisition goes through. Uncovering these hidden emotional or practical obstacles allows the buyer to address them directly, e.g., offering the founder a continued role, reassuring the key employee to unlock the deal. The employee retention. A valuable employee is threatening to quit. The obvious information is they're unhappy with their salary. The black swan might be a personal issue, e.g., caring for an ailing parent, that demands more flexibility, or a feeling of being undervalued by their direct manager, which money alone can't fix. By uncovering the true black swan, the employer can offer tailored solutions, e.g., flexible hours, a different manager, that genuinely retain the employee. Practical application. Prioritize deep information gathering. Treat every interaction as an opportunity to learn. Ask open-ended questions, listen actively, and use mirroring and labeling to encourage self-disclosure. Be intensely curious. Look for inconsistencies and anomalies. Pay close attention to discrepancies between what people say and what they do, between their verbal and nonverbal cues, or shifts in their emotional state. These can signal hidden information. Ask, what are we missing? Explicitly ask yourself or your team before and during a negotiation, what is the crucial information we don't have? What might be the other side's hidden agenda, constraint, fear, or leverage that we haven't seen yet? Test for genuine commitment, not just agreement. Once you have a verbal yes, ask questions that probe their commitment to execution. What will be the biggest challenge for you in implementing this? Or, how will we know we're on track? This helps reveal any underlying reluctance or hidden obstacles before they derail the deal. Part 3. The Black Swan, the Ultimate Advantage. We've explored the foundational psychological tools for understanding and influencing, and the advanced strategies for breaking impasses. Now, Chris Voss brings us to the culmination of his negotiation philosophy in Part 3 of NeverSplitTheDifference, which dedicates its focus to the concept of the Black Swan. This final section underscores that true mastery isn't just about applying techniques, but about relentless preparation, continuous discovery, and the humility to know what you don't know. Chapter 11. The Black Swan Explanation. This chapter serves as a powerful capstone, drawing together all the previous concepts and reiterating the critical importance of uncovering black swans, the hidden, unknown, and often pivotal pieces of information that can completely change the dynamic and outcome of any negotiation. Voss emphasizes that most conflicts and stalemates arise not from what is known, but from what is yet to be discovered. True negotiation mastery lies in the relentless, systematic search for these unrevealed motivations, fears, or leverage points. It's about achieving discovery over mere agreement. Deep analysis. Psychologically, our brains are wired to rely on known information and patterns, leading us to overlook or dismiss anomalies. Black swans are pieces of information that, once revealed, invalidate our existing assumptions and open up entirely new possibilities. They can be hidden motivations, the true, often emotional, reason why the other side is pushing a specific demand, e.g., a bonus they need, a fear of losing face, a personal deadline. Unbeknownst leverage, a piece of information about your situation or the broader market that gives you an advantage you weren't aware of. Overlooked constraints, a secret limitation on the other side that makes their position inflexible in one area, but flexible in another. Undiscovered alternatives, a creative solution neither side had considered. Finding black swans requires persistent, empathetic probing, using mirroring, labeling, and calibrated questions, keen observation of inconsistencies, and a willingness to explore uncomfortable truths. Once a black swan is uncovered, it can transform a seemingly impossible negotiation into a sudden, often win-win solution by revealing a previously unconsidered path or a shared interest. This concept underscores that genuine understanding is the ultimate leverage. The goal is to uncover the underlying truth that unlocks the deal, not just to negotiate the surface. It also reinforces that the negotiation isn't truly over until the deal is executed, as black swans can emerge even post-agreement. Illustrative examples. The hostage-taker's urgent need, ultimate black swan. Voss frequently returns to the example of a hostage negotiation where the hostage-taker's stated demand was money and an escape vehicle. The black swan, uncovered through patient listening and tactical empathy, was that his child needed urgent, life-saving surgery. By understanding this hidden, vital motivation, the negotiator could shift from arguing about ransom to offering medical assistance, satisfying the true need and achieving a peaceful resolution. This wasn't about compromise on money. It was about fulfilling an unstated, deeper, emotional need. The business acquisition breakdown, strategic black swan. In a complex business acquisition, the target company's founder is resisting a seemingly generous offer. The obvious information is their financial valuation. The black swan might be that the founder has a personal, unstated fear of losing their company's legacy, or that a key employee, a critical black swan for the buyer, is secretly planning to leave if the acquisition goes through. Uncovering these hidden, emotional, or practical obstacles allows the buyer to address them directly. E.g., say, offering the founder a continued role, reassuring the key employee about their future with new incentives, thereby unlocking the deal and preventing post-acquisition chaos. The employee retention, personal black swan. A valuable employee is threatening to quit due to salary. The obvious information is the need for more money. The black swan might be a personal issue, e.g., caring for an ailing parent, that demands more flexibility in hours, or a feeling of being consistently undervalued by their direct manager, which money alone can't fix. By using calibrated questions like, "What would you need to feel truly supported here?" or "How can we make this job sustainable for you given your personal commitments?" the employer can uncover the true black swan and offer tailored solutions, e.g., remote work options, a different reporting structure, that genuinely retain the employee far more effectively than a simple raise. Practical application. Cultivate extreme curiosity. Approach every negotiation with the mindset that there's always something you don't know that could change everything. Be relentlessly curious about the other side's world. Ask more than you tell. Prioritize listening and asking open-ended questions, especially calibrated what and how questions, to encourage self-disclosure and uncover hidden information. Look for what isn't being said. Pay attention to inconsistencies, shifts in behavior, vague answers, or strong emotional reactions that might signal hidden information. Don't just listen to the words, listen to the music. Embrace discomfort in discovery. Uncovering black swans can be uncomfortable for both sides, as it involves exposing vulnerabilities or inconvenient truths. Be willing to go there, always maintaining tactical empathy. Be agile. Once a black swan is revealed, be prepared to adjust your strategy, arguments, and even your desired outcome based on this new, critical information. Conclusion: the black swan and the power of humanity in negotiation. As we bring to a close our deep dive into Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as if your life depended on it. By Chris Voss, a revolutionary truth stands clear. Negotiation is not a battle of wits or a game of logic, but a profound exercise in understanding human emotion and psychology. This book has shattered conventional wisdom, providing a counterintuitive yet incredibly effective blueprint for achieving superior outcomes in every interaction. Voss's core philosophy shifts the focus from winning arguments to winning understanding. We've learned that by genuinely listening to, empathizing with, and influencing the other side's emotional landscape, we can transform confrontations into collaborative breakthroughs. The traditional split the difference often leaves both parties dissatisfied. Voss teaches us to aim for a better-than-compromise solution by uncovering hidden truths. We've explored Voss's powerful techniques: tactical empathy, not feeling, but observing and labeling emotions. It sounds like, it seems like, to de-escalate tension and build rapport. Mirroring, repeating the last few words to show engagement and encourage elaboration, subtly pulling information. The power of no, making the other side feel safe by allowing them to say no, revealing their true boundaries and unlocking deeper conversations. Calibrated questions, open-ended what and how. Questions that make the other side feel in control while guiding them to your solution, making it their idea. The "that's right" breakthrough, the ultimate confirmation that you've truly understood their worldview, signaling they are ready to listen. Anchoring, strategically setting a reference point to influence perception of value, often combined with leveraging loss aversion. The rule of three, getting 3 confirmations for a yeah, no, yeah, yes to ensure genuine commitment and guarantee execution. And above all, the black swan, the relentless pursuit of the hidden, game-changing information that unlocks breakthroughs and ensures true understanding. In the complex and often contentious 21st century, where conflicts are abundant, Voss's principles are more vital than ever. They empower you to de-escalate. Conflict. Turn heated confrontations into calm, productive dialogues. Build stronger relationships. Achieve better outcomes by understanding, not just dictating. Gain true leverage. Influence others by appealing to their emotions and self-interest, not just logic. Achieve superior results. Go beyond compromise to find innovative, mutually beneficial solutions. Navigate high-stakes situations with confidence. Whether it's a salary negotiation, a business deal, or a difficult family discussion, you'll have the tools to succeed. Never Split the Difference is not just about getting what you want. It's about understanding why people do what they do and leveraging that insight to achieve remarkable outcomes while building trust and respect. It's a powerful invitation to negotiate as if your life depends on it, because often it truly does. If the radical insights and practical strategies of Chris Voss in this summary have opened your eyes to a new world of negotiation, I wholeheartedly encourage you to dive into the complete Never Split the Difference. His full stories, detailed explanations, and specific drills offer an even deeper, more transformative learning experience. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What's one specific technique from this summary, like mirroring, labeling, calibrated questions, or the pursuit of a black swan, are you committed to trying in your very next important conversation? Share your reflections and intentions in the comments below. Your journey toward negotiation mastery inspires this entire community. If you found this comprehensive audiobook summary valuable, please give this video a thumbs up to support the channel, subscribe for more transformative book insights, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into life-changing wisdom. Thank you for listening, and remember, the most dangerous negotiation is the one you don't know you're in.